Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Move podcast. I'm your host, Lance, the Tiger King Armstrong. We will have that photo up for you all on Instagram. Go check it out at either my Insta or I'm sure George will put it on his or even the We Do Insta. And I might even be able to get my co-host here, or one of my co-hosts, JB Hager, to throw it up right here to my left. Getting more and more social distance, which I greatly appreciate. And over there, the man who now will be allowed to keep his beard, Mr. George Hincapie. Today's show, like every day, this tour is presented to you by the OURA ring. Talk about it every day. Love this company. I'm just getting tons of data, tons of metrics on not just my sleep score, readiness score, activity score, but then as I dig even deeper, stuff like body temp, which has been so critical amidst a global pandemic. We're seeing people that are watching their core temp rise and rise, and then bam, all of a sudden being diagnosed. That's pretty important. That's why the NBA brought it on, the WNBA. We got some guys getting beamed up over at the tour, looks like. Also respiratory rate. That's one of my favorite ones to look at, especially in light of George's respiratory rate. But we'll talk about that a little bit later as we talk about our training ride, because I've got some, it's one thing to talk about stuff. It's another thing to actually show you stuff. So we got some real data that I'll show you on my performance against George yesterday. By the way, as we talk about these great companies, and we're using my buddy's company, Tim Armstrong, an old friend of mine, he's got a new company called Flowcode. So if you're watching on one of the video formats, this is just a really simple thing. Even I could figure this out. Open, aim, and tap. So we'll be using those flow codes for all these great supporters. Head on over to, are we going to show the OURA flow, or did we already show that? Am I not looking? Doesn't matter. Awesome. Head on over to OURAring.com. That's OURA ring.com. So we are talking about stage 4, which we're going to cue our old ami, mon ami Alain. And it is
Stage 4, Cisteron to Orsières-Merlette.
Oh, Cisteron to Orsières-Merlette. And I don't think we've ever been there, George. I asked Johan. He didn't write me back. I don't know if he's mad or something, or maybe he's sleeping in.
Didn't sound familiar. We've definitely been in Cisteron, but I don't believe we've been at the finish line today.
No, I don't recall being there, but we'll break that down here in just a sec. Today's show also brought to you by PowerDot, another great company that we love. We've supported it, Next Ventures, full disclosure. It is a game changer. When you grow up as an athlete and you go to the trainer's office, or even as you get older, like our buddy Will, who was watching the tour with us this morning, I don't know, he's probably 50, but he looks a little older, and he plays a lot of golf. And so his back's probably nuked. PowerDot would be his solution. The other thing I'll point out about PowerDot, which is just, again, in light of the global pandemic, what a way to just be treated at home, not have to go into the PT office, the doctor's office, chiropractor's office. This company has actually crushed it through this unfortunate time. But, and again, a lot of great athletes in the NBA, Major League Baseball, PGA, 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it, by the way, a lot of our supporters have these guarantees. I love that. Like, our shit's so good that we're just going to guarantee it's good. If you don't like it, send it back, and we'll send your money back. Amazing. The other thing that I really love about PowerDot is they're really involved during these trying times, feeding San Diego, feeding America. 40 meals for everybody that buys a PowerDot Duo. Head on over to powerdot.com/TheMove. There's the flow code. And buy code there is TheMove for 20% off. Last one here for a sec. We got a new supporter on the show, and this is a company. I'm a big believer in hydration. I think most of the world, frankly, is dehydrated. I think most people wake up and drink coffee, then they do some sort of exercise, and then at night they have a couple cocktails or glasses of wine. That's just dehydrate. And we really don't know the effects. Some people know, but I think we all don't think about the effects that dehydration has on us. This product right here, and I'm telling you, I try and test so many of these things. This is my go-to. All right, and I love the branding. Look how dope that branding is. It's just like, wait, where's the camera? There we are. Whoa, it's over here. I mean, so simple. LMNT, element. The thing that I think we also don't realize is proper hydration requires water and electrolytes. So people just slam water and think I'm going to hydrate, and they go to the bathroom and it's clear and like, cool, I'm hydrated. That is not hydration. That is not truly hydrated. All right, you need electrolytes and water, right? So that's the key here. Exclusive partner to the USA weightlifting team. More than 5 teams in the NFL. We're not allowed to say who are on subscriptions. Grab and go packaging. I just bust this thing open and put it in my bottle every day. And as I said yesterday on the show, I'm a sweater. Like, I sweat my ass off, which sometimes fools George, but it doesn't matter. Okay, the proof will be in the pudding later in the show when we see the results, right? Of the climb up buttermilk. And so you probably saw me sweating.
I did.
Thought you had me. But what you didn't realize is my bottle, and this is no shit, this is a true story, my bottle was full of LMNT, 1,000 milligrams of sodium. So the heater over here needs sodium. 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium, science-backed electrolyte ratio, and also totally risk-free. If you don't like it, and I fucking love this line, if you don't like it, share it with a salty friend, and we'll give you your money back. No questions asked. Head on over to drinklmnt.com/themove to get you some of this salty solution. Well, hey, today didn't disappoint.
Not at all. We did want to address a couple things from yesterday's sprint.
That's a great yes, because George, again, Mr. Popular, has all of his sources, all of his intel, but this is an amazing bit of research that my man came up with.
Research, unconfirmed, but yes, one of my sources wrote in, and I'm not sure if it's been out there or not, but apparently Caleb Ewan hit 1,610 watts at his peak watts at the finish yesterday, right before the line, which is absolutely incredible. A guy his size and with his aerodynamic stature on the bike, it's no wonder that he just flew past everybody.
Yeah, I mean, there's no drag, right? If you think about, and this has been fun, we've talked about this on the show before, if you think back to the days of, at least our days of racing, I mean, sprinters were big guys, and even, going back to Greipel, big guys. You get a guy like Caleb Ewan, who is maybe one of the smallest guys in the group, and he's pedaling, he's pumping out 1,600 watts. Well, yeah.
Yeah, 5'4", by the way. I looked it up.
And also some of the sprinters were changing bikes and changing wheels just to
I noticed that
get perhaps better rolling resistance or better aerodynamics or stiffer frames. But you're starting to see more and more people change bikes before the ends of these races, which I do remember Cav used to always change his wheel setup before the finish of a race, but he would actually change the wheels, not bikes, which always kind of made me nervous, but they're doing it more and more now.
What else is a guy like Caleb doing off the bike to get that much power? You don't get it all from just riding the bike. I mean, what other cross-training is he probably doing?
I'm not sure, but I know a lot of the guys like Tyler Ferrara, he used to do a lot of weightlifting, a lot of squats, get a ton of power. But I'm not sure what Caleb's doing, but clearly he's doing something right. Yeah.
Well, he was. I'm still waiting for that line. I listened to the show again last night, and as I heard myself talking about this, this imaginary line that they would put on the finishing straight, I heard myself say it, and even then I said to myself, that is a fucking great idea. Like, when it's like one thing when you say something and you realize how great it is, and then you go later in the night and you listen to yourself say it again, and you're like, that is amazing. Line. Like
hey, there's no stopping the move. Maybe we'll be doing it on our own here in the next few years. We'll do our own imaginary line with the overhead shot that we have from our own feed.
You know what? You're right.
Now, the comments on YouTube were mostly about the yellow line concept, and they all agreed. Although one woman did say they're using it in horse racing. You see a virtual line. So it could be done in bike
But that's
racing.
it's a longer...
Right.
It's a wider angle, so you actually would see... But I love it, and I'm going on the record. We're going to see it. But today, let's go back to today. Or go forward to today.
Again, the early breakaways, a bunch of strong guys. Great to see the new upstart team, Israeli Cycling Academy, with 2 guys in the breakaway, not 1, but 2. Which, as we always say every day, making that breakaway is very, very difficult, and we most of the times miss it on TV how it actually happens. So that
That's
was a great
because
move.
we're asleep.
Yep, we're asleep. I'm up at 5 a.m., but not getting the coverage yet. But that was great to see. And unfortunately, we had a big crash with Thies Benoot falling. Very scary crash. We've all been there. And fortunately, he looked to be fine, got back on the bike, and continued on with his day.
Well, the thing that I fully expected is he ran into that guardrail, and anybody that's either hit a guardrail or been close to one, you realize the backside of them, they're like knives. They're really sharp. And as he's sliding along this thing, I'm going, this guy's going to get seriously cut.
Right.
So he fortunately dodged that bullet.
I had the unfortunate experience back in San Sebastian, I don't know, 20 years ago, following you down the Jascabel, and I slid out in the corner, and I went right underneath that guardrail with my legs up, and that's no fun hitting a guardrail at 40 miles an hour.
You know what? You don't follow the Tiger King, man. Okay?
What's interesting, I'm wondering what happened to your descending skills since then. Because
I think you shot some pretty exciting GoPro footage yesterday.
I did, which we're about to release to the members.
Yeah, I thought I was pegging it pretty good. The other thing and this is not this is just the reality of the way they make carbon frames now. Boy, when he crashed, that bike was just eviscerated.
Yeah.
And did you see how quickly that mechanic? He saw the TV camera there focusing on the bike. Very responsible. He grabbed that bike as quick as he could and stuck it behind the car. Any bike in this peloton would have done the very same thing. So nobody should look at that crash and the consequences on the bike and think, oh, that's their fault. They're all built that way now. I mean, this carbon is actually made to break. It's thin and really, really surprisingly thin in a bunch of places, and then and thicker and denser where it's supposed to be, but
not designed to take a blow from the side. That's not how the geometry is.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't see that happen if a guy was just riding down the road, but good heads up call by the mechanic there.
Well, I want to know, as things started to slug up the last climb, which is where everything went down today.
Do you guys mind if I sit on my hands? It's like 45 degrees.
It is.
My
It's
hands are freezing.
Really?
Yes.
I think it feels good. We'll take it. We'll warm it up.
Keeping us on our toes.
Jumbo-Visma, again, controlling everything. Like just, I know you want to talk more about Wout van Aert and probably Sepp Kuss as well, but are they just burning too many matches too early for a 3-week race? I mean, Roglic looks great. But
It depends. If you believe what George has heard from some people, which I don't want to believe. I don't want to believe that something's going to happen and cause this tour to end. I mean, maybe that plays into their strategy, but that team is – I mean, you just can't say enough good things about Sepp Kuss. You see it, too, before he's even in a position to set the tempo. He looks easy.
Yeah.
Wout van Aert, a guy who is – I don't know. He's a cyclocross racer. He's a classics man. And he's just setting tempo on the climb. You see when he pulled off? You see those Ineos guys? They were like, "Oh, thank God he stopped." He was hauling ass.
I think I think we should address that once we start talking about the finish. But also, not only that, but you can see halfway through the stage when obviously the leaders are Quick Step with Julian Alaphilippe. They, of course, get the position in the front of the peloton. But for me, it's always interesting to see who gets the right to be right behind them. That, in my opinion, establishes the hierarchy of the teams. And today it was Jumbo with no questions asked. They were second team on the road, and that's always pretty interesting to see that Ineos just lets them slot in that position.
Right, but also, yeah. No, I think if you had a mental score or a momentum score, they got the mo right now.
Yeah, they got the mo.
They got the mo, and Mr.
I
Mo.
like that. That might be a new T-shirt. They got the mo.
They got the mo.
Well, we got the mo.
When we always, because now I talk about golf all the time, but it's kind of hole by hole. In one hole you suck. At least me, one hole you suck, next hole you don't. But then all of a sudden you have a good one, and you're like yelling at your buddies like, "Hey, fuck y'all! Mr. Momentum has changed his address."
That's kind of like what I got going on right now. Didn't I pick the last two winners out of
You
the three
have some-
stages?
I don't know. George is
So I got the mo right now.
You're the
in
only
show.
one who's picked a winner at all.
And I do, speaking of momentum, and if you look at the depth and the strength of Jumbo-Visma, you can't help but and you always look at the faces of all these riders and Ineos, and then to Carapaz loses 28 seconds today. No, they do not have the mo.
Well, it was a really interesting run into that climb. It looked like it was steady uphill just even before the climb started. And then as soon as the climb started, you saw a quick step straight to the front with Dries, and then with who's the Luxembourg guy?
Well, to
Youngles, Bob Youngles, was setting a fierce pace, and then instantly our boy Wout van Aert took over and just set an incredibly tough pace. Ineos was pretty much swinging on the wheel. What I found most interesting was as soon as Wout pulled off after pulling for, almost 2 or 3 kilometers, Castroviejo and Kwiatkowski sat up with him.
Right.
That was pretty incredible.
They were incredibly happy that he pulled over.
They were incredibly happy, but they weren't able to keep the pace up. And what happened right after that was Sepp Kuss took over and just basically destroyed the peloton. And
I think Sepp Kuss had to keep glancing back to make sure he wasn't gapping.
Well, he was even before he started pulling, he was glancing back. I think just waiting from the nod from Primoz. Yeah. They were that much stronger, that much more dominant on the climb. And what they did today was, I mean, they set the mark today. I think Ineos has got to be a little bit nervous after what happened today.
It's always, when I think about, because it's one thing to be the dominant team or perceived to be the dominant team in the race. But it really, to me, and you'll remember this, George, you finish the race and you get in the bus, and it's just the vibe in the bus. And then you get back to the hotel, you get massage, all your things. Then you go to dinner. It's the vibe at the dinner table. Like if I had to put myself, if you could just drop in to both of those dinner tables, and we'll just identify or isolate those two teams, it's that vibe at the Jumbo-Visma dinner table. They're feeling pretty damn invincible. I mean, you don't put your big classics guy on the front. By the way, Wout van Aert pulling as strong as he was, and I know Dan Martin has been affected by some crashes and is not in top condition, spit him right out the back. I mean, this was a guy who, some people would have put in their top 10 in terms of favorites. Boom, out the back, dropped 3 minutes by Wout van Aert.
Not only that, but we're missing George Bennett. George Bennett had 2 really bad crashes in the first stage. He's obviously still recovering. Without those crashes, he would have been there also. So imagine that with George Bennett there.
Are we going to go back and talk? Or do you really want to open that up again?
I'll open up whatever you want.
Because he should have just crashed once.
That's well, perhaps. But point is, he's still recovering, and he's just only going to get better from here.
You know what? Mr. Momentum just changed his address. That's a fact.
We didn't put this on our notes, but I think the green jersey is going to be fun to watch and see if
there's only one jersey.
Lance is not a big fan of jerseys.
There's no other jersey.
You're a fan of the green jersey.
Do not get the man started on the KOM jersey, the green jersey, the young
JB,
rider.
It's a Sagan thing.
No, you just got me started.
Oh,
okay.
No.
So, to my point, this polka dot jersey this early in the tour is a joke. We're watching the race, and there's 100 guys in the peloton, and who gets dropped on a small hill?
Right.
The polka dot jersey. I rest my case.
Hey, it's always a battle within a battle in this race. That's what makes it so special.
I thought Alaphilippe too looked a little. This was a perfect finish for him. And I could see him at the.
Oh no! Don't go there. Don't tell me you're thinking Alaphilippe is not. Because this is kind of annoying me. I mean, I keep hearing all these people saying that Alaphilippe is not as good as last year. Are you kidding me? Did we not watch Milan-San Remo where he basically flatted with 30 kilometers to go in the most pivotal part of the race, came back, went through the peloton, and then rode everybody off of his wheel on the Poggio? I mean, the guy is flying. Maybe he hasn't won as many races as he did last year, but I think he's as strong or better than he has ever been, and we cannot count him out. Today, of course, he wasn't able. We got Primoz, who's obviously incredibly strong, rode him off the wheel, but Alaphilippe is as good or better than last year. I don't care what anybody says.
So the only maybe here that matters, right? You just said maybe.
I didn't say maybe.
You did. You said it somewhere in there. You said maybe. So the only maybe here that matters is maybe you were, after the race, when I was continuing to watch the coverage, maybe you were back getting your hair coiffed and getting your beard manicured and all these things. I think maybe that is what happened. So if you watched Alaphilippe in the warm down section, he was not happy, and you could see him. He was dejected. This is not. I'm telling you, I watched him. So you were out busy getting pretty.
It's a great point. And you can see by the way Quick-Step rode the race today, they weren't riding just to control the race. They were riding to win the stage. So I think he was disappointed. He probably felt like he's let his teammates down. But we cannot discount the effort he put in 2 days ago, and he's still there. He's still in yellow. and got a great team behind him. So I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm saying he's as good as he was last year, or better.
Well, in talking about winners, another winner today, and again, the girl who would send us that video in bed from Slovenia, she's better get up out of bed or stay in bed or whatever. But good day for Slovenia. I mean, did we ever even race with Slovenians? I don't even know where Slovenia is. But first and second,
huge day.
A huge day for that country. That is, I mean, when you think about cycling and the big five, right? It's Slovenia's not, it's the usuals, right? Whether it's France or Belgium or Spain or Italy. Slovenia first and second with Pogačar, who's another one. We've had him on our list. This kid is
Pogačar, I mean, incredible talent, super young. UAE, what a Tour de France they've had so far, winning the first stage, yellow jersey, now getting fourth today and second place. Second place today, sorry. Fourth place in the overall. So, I mean, their Tour de France has started off with flying colors.
Yep. Roglic, though, man. Good job, George. You've now picked two of the winners. You're leading the general classification amongst the move.
What Roglic did today
Yes.
was just incredibly impressive. I mean, I know you're always kind of dissing on Cofidis, but their boy Gael Martin did an incredible attack with 500 meters to go with the pace being super high, got a good gap. But Roglic didn't even hesitate. He jumped on his wheel and had everybody on the limit.
In the saddle.
In the saddle, not to mention. And then sprinted and rode away from Alaphilippe. I mean, his form is incredible right now. The people that were questioning whether or not he recovered from the Dauphiné got their questions answered today.
Yeah. Well,
I know George was also pretty excited that there's 4 Colombians in the top 10.
4 Colombians in the top 10. I'm super excited to see that with Bernal, Lopez, Esteban Chavez, who's an amazing person, super cool kid. And then
Quintana,
your pick for
fourth.
Today. So we got 4 Colombians in the top 10.
You're
Vamos,
usually
Colombia.
a little more excited about the Colombians, George.
No, I'm excited. I love it. Hola, mi cumbia.
is that even a Colombian dance I'm doing? I mean, you ought to see me dance.
That is not.
Whatever.
You're
I mean,
not
ask
dancing.
Anna. She's like, I mean, I do my dance is my go-to is usually the sprinkler.
Oh man.
I have not seen that. And I've
Or
known
the
you a long
Cabbage
time.
Patch. You want to see the Cabbage Patch?
Thank goodness I have not seen that. Oh my God.
Oh no.
We might have to edit that one out.
All you
gotta
people listening only, you're like, oh,
We
fuck,
need-
we didn't see that.
We need to keep moving up the list. We might need to edit that part out. Okay?
There's a lot
Because
of
we're in
stuff.
7th right now.
We're moving up. I don't want
Moving
to. I wasn't even going to bring it up. I don't want to jinx it.
All right, we won't bring it up.
But we are moving up. All right, let's do a little more business, and then we'll talk about tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then take some reader comments, and
I think
I'm sure Joe Natoli sent some other just a heinously embarrassing photo in that I haven't seen. How are we doing? Yeah, 7th.
I know. We can talk about that when we come back too.
Hey, today's show also brought to you by Ventum. This bike is a rocket ship. It's my go-to road frame at the moment. They are also the official global bike partner of Ironman and have been since 2018. Custom build options, personalize your fit, which, by the way, people ask me all the time about bikes. I mean, fit is something you really can't ignore. Like, you see so many people on great bikes that just don't fit them. Like, spend some time thinking about fit. It is key and essential. Otherwise, you're not going to perform the same, and you're going to have problems later on. Finance options available in North America. Trade-in program. JB, you heard me. To help you upgrade your ride. Dia and everybody at Ventum, I might send you a photo of the bike that JB rides on a daily basis. It is embarrassing.
But fast.
It's not fast, and it's old. And he actually took it to the shop the other day, and they refused to work on it. That it's so old. So we might need to upgrade JB, get him a new whip. Head on over to ventumracing.com/themove. 20% off any purchase until the end of October, and you'll also be entered to win a custom fit bike valued at over $5,000. Last one of the day, I'm rocking the shirt. I just got a little swag package from Amp Human. I love this product. I'm a religious user of, I'm not religious, but I'm a religious user of the PR Lotion. When it was brought to me years ago by our good buddy, number 48, Jimmy Johnson, I couldn't believe it until I started using it. sodium bicarbonate, the only thing proven to buffer lactic acid very clearly. And this might actually be a good time to bring up the Strava file from yesterday's ride. This is Higgs. Do we have that handy? Okay, this is the climb up Buttermilk, and this is a long climb, 24 minutes. I put 13 seconds into George, and if you do the flyby, you actually see these moments where you're trying to catch back up, like you're like, oh, I'm going to catch him, and you keep getting dropped. So did you not rub on enough PR lotion yesterday?
I didn't. I will today, but I do have a question about this. But was there any kind of manipulation done to this segment? Because
No.
I heard a rumor that Ashish, our lead engineer here for the Move, had to actually, plat or whatever you call this segment, because the initial one, the first one, was a little different, albeit it was a mistake. I was behind you.
I was going to say, wait a minute,
But-
is your memory that bad? Did
I
you
was
not?
behind you, but I think there was. You might have made a new segment out of this or something. But that's not the point. The point is I'm still trying to get acclimated from this altitude.
The point is
my Oura ring is telling me that I'm not sleeping the way I normally sleep, which I will be in a few days. And I think just give me some time. I'll be
the
back.
point is that your ass got dropped, and I need you to admit it right now. All right,
I got
pretty boy?
dropped. I got dropped
Okay,
by
good.
13
Done.
seconds.
So PR lotion, very simple. Rub it on just like a body lotion. More is better. The shit absolutely works. Relied on by the best. Both teams in the Super Bowl, both teams in the Stanley Cup. Kipchoge, when he ran 159, used it almost over his entire body. Past few winners of the Tour, we know it's used heavily on the Tour. 3 government innovation contracts, and they've just awarded another $1.5 million by the United States Air Force. Head on over to amphuman.com/themove. There's the flow code. Use the buy code THEMOVE25 for 25% off your next purchase. And George, I have a whole tube of it right here that you can use before our ride, which is going to start in about 30 minutes.
All right, I'll come down and put it on.
All right.
All right, let's
Talk about tomorrow.
Talk about tomorrow. I'm going to, I said yesterday at the close of the show that, some days you want to get up early and some days you don't. I might sleep in a little bit tomorrow. Just full disclosure.
I'm excited about tomorrow. It's a slightly uphill finish. It's going to be a very aggressive stage. Guys are, really getting antsy about winning a stage. Can I do my pick, or do I not get to go first again? Because I'm on a roll,
Go ahead.
baby. I'm on a roll.
I think if you're in the lead, you get to pick first. It's kind of a make it take.
Since I've happened to pick the 2 out of the 4 winners of this Tour de France, I'm going to go with my boy, ex-teammate, GVA, Greg Van Avermaet, for tomorrow.
You are such a
He's
fanboy.
getting better and better. It's an uphill finish. This finish is suited to him. I would see CCC doing some work tomorrow to help control the race. And with Greg Van Avermaet and Trenton, they got a great, solid finish team, and I think he could be on the top step of the podium tomorrow.
So it is uphill at the finish, and if you look at the, we're using sort of 2 race books. This is the book that the riders actually get. There's an insane. You can see it's way too thick it's the thickest book I've ever held in my life. But there's a ton of detail in here. The other go-to, which we love, of course, is our media partner, is the Velo News book. This one I love too because it gives me the total amount of climbing every day, which I think at the end of a week you start to think about these things. But it is uphill. You got, where am I? There I am. But I got it at it's like 2%. So
2%. What's more on this map?
Well, you go from 200 meters to 275 meters and call it 3K. So I don't know. That's it makes it uncomfortable and it certainly makes it hard. The other thing it makes it, if you look at for the GC guys, they have to stay up there. If somebody opens a gap on a little silly climb like that and you get gapped off and you can't close it, you're going to lose time.
Not only that, but
throwing some crosswind.
Yeah, there's 3 climbs in the last 80 kilometers. So it would be the responsibility of teams like CCC and Bora to make it really, really hard on the climbs so the sprinters, the actual real sprinters, can't make it over those. Or if they do make it over, they've burnt a lot of matches for the finish at that point.
All right, so you're picking GVA.
Yep.
Do I have to pick? I'm just not been very successful in my picks.
I can give you a pick if you'd like.
It'll be Sagan.
No, I can't pick Sagan. I saw him again today, and the camera caught him just right, and actually George agreed. Something's not right. The guy, this is a guy who looks like he was born on a bike normally. He just looks uncomfortable. I can't, I love the guy, but something's not right. And by the way, it can be, not to get gross or anything here, but I mean, you could have a saddle sore. I mean, there's
If
certain
you see that
that
he's sitting
just
funny on
make
the bike,
it where you just can't sit on the bike like you usually do. Even something simple like that.
He might actually have one, and that's why he might be sitting off center, which what seems like it is
Well,
happening.
you got all the connections. Why don't you find out if Peter Sagan has a saddle sore?
I don't think I can pull that one off. But I'm happy to give you some advice for tomorrow's pick, because there's another really good pick that I think after what we saw today, if in fact he gets the freedom to ride, he could also win quite.
Wout van Aert.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Wout van Aert. Sam Bennett. What about Sam Bennett? Is that too tough of a finish? You're not giving him any love. Okay, that's
But
great.
is that
Thank you.
smart when you have GC goals?
Well, I think he can just find his way. I mean,
he can do
this
both.
guy can sprint with his eyes closed. I mean, these cyclocross guys are maniacs.
And tomorrow Jumbo will not have the main responsibility to control the race tomorrow, or even set up for the finish. He can kind of just freewheel there at the finish and go for the win if he's feeling good.
I'm not picking anybody.
I think this is worth mentioning.
Whoever Johan says, I'm picking.
And you got to catch the follow-up podcast show, audio only with Johan, okay? And I know a lot of people on YouTube keep asking, where's the show? Where's the show? It's in the audio feed. But we moved up another notch since yesterday.
I know. I thought we weren't going to jinx
Yeah, we're not
ourselves.
jinxing. We're not talking about it.
No. You were all in everybody's face about it yesterday.
I'm not resting until I'm ahead of fantasy football. Is that even a thing?
It is. It's big.
I mean, but how? That's fine. You can be number
It's a
27.
huge thing.
it's
Yes,
huge.
but we're talking about the Tour de France, the sport of hardmen, the game, the event of the toughest athletes in the world. I'm not going to talk about fantasy football. I don't even know what that is.
We do appreciate everybody writing in on this shave poll, which apparently I do not need to shave anytime soon. But
Do we
maybe
have the actual?
Maybe we'll
final
revisit
tally?
it in a week or so. I'm going to trim it, though. I'll keep it nice and trimmed for you guys.
Anyways, it was like 70-30.
70-30.
We jumped the gun, JB, early on. It was like it was flipped.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
69-31.
Not to shave.
And again, they're using just the GQ shot. So, I mean, every chick out there is like, oh, my God. Georges.
Moving on. So,
Well, I've got a few comments here, which include a couple questions. I do skim through Facebook and YouTube, and then you guys can always email themoveatwedo.team. But Francisco writes in, the Move fanny packs, please. Don't be pannekuchens. He wants the fanny
Right.
pack in our store.
I thought we kicked that around. Higgs didn't. I thought we had that as an option at some point. And our good friend Jerry Kelly sent us a fun graphic on the fanny pack thing, which I don't know if we have sitting around, but you know, some people just have more shit to carry. And this, and I love this image because it's just sure to piss off some of you. So,
Oh, no.
my day wouldn't be complete unless that happened. And I have, there's one of those cups, just across the way here, right over at the house. Oh, there's 6 or somewhere. Anyways.
Rob writes, I think if Dos Equis is watching, George with the beard looks an awful lot like the most interesting man in the world.
Stop it. Are we going to go, really?
Keep the beard and stay thirsty, my friend.
Unbelievable.
It's a good one.
We're not drinking Dos Equis. We're drinking
Athletic.
Athletica.
Jean-Mi Walter writes, greetings from Luxembourg, guys. I have one question. I don't get my head around one thing. Why does no one have Emmanuel Buchmann on the list to win the Tour? See you in the douches. Keep it up.
Good call. I mean, he's definitely one of the favorites.
It's not a good call.
And
He
he's
lost time today.
Oh, did he lose time?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not then. Sorry.
He didn't. No, he lost 9 seconds.
Okay.
Lost 9 seconds. That's just, you wouldn't want to lose. By the way, the last guy in that front group, Romain Bardet. I mean, that's just, you got to be careful on days like this. And even though they're not truly, that hard, there are indications. If you can't hold that front group, so not to bust on our man from Luxembourg, but by the way, this is the kid that crashed in Lombardia, right, where the lady pulled out in front of him.
That was Schachmann.
Yeah, Chuck.
Yeah.
Oh, Buchmann, Schachmann. I got my
Yeah.
mom. I got my mons confused.
You were close.
That was close.
Yeah.
Anything else, JJ?
Yeah, Jewel writes.
Wait, Jewel?
Jewel.
Holy shit, Jewel's.
Jule. Wrong Jewel.
Oh.
Sorry.
I've met Jewel a couple times.
I've interviewed her a couple times.
She's cool, man.
She's a sweetheart.
Cool. Jewel's cool.
It says, Jewel writes in, thanks for another episode. Do you think Ineos not appearing as cool, calm, and collected as in previous years could be linked to Nicholas Portal
100%.
no longer being there?
100%. We talked about it in the preview show. If you didn't check it out, if they didn't hear it, they should go back and listen to it. There's no doubt. I mean, that presence in the car, and he had a special, and again, I wasn't on the team, but just my perception was he had a very special relationship with the riders. You know, not that long out of his own career, for sure. There is no doubt.
That's Jewel from Germany. And one more, Joe writes in and says, I never saw the race between George and Lance from last summer.
That's a good point.
Who won?
I think we should revisit it and throw it out there for our peeps.
We'll put it out.
We'll put it out.
We'll put it out. But spoiler alert, I did not win. I almost won, but I didn't win.
And
but that was 2019. This is a different year.
Where are you fitness-wise last year and this year on a scale of 1 to 10? And same question, George.
Well, I'm much fitter, but I also don't have 8 Lanceritas every night.
Okay. So last year you were what, a 7? Now you're at what?
No.
A 9?
Last year I was a 4. And again, if we're just basing it on being a nearly 50-year-old guy. By the way, my birthday's coming up, everybody. It will happen in the middle of this tour. But if we just consider a 50-year-old dude, last year I was a 4. I'm probably a 7. I was at an 8. I came down to a 7. We went on vacation before the tour, so I didn't touch the bike for 2-3 weeks. Was not at altitude, which is this little whiner's excuse every day. I gotta acclimate. I haven't been here either, bro. So I'm about a 7.
All right, George. Last year and then this year.
I'd say I'm pretty equal to where I was last year, but I can definitely tell that Lance is fitter this year.
Can I tell a fun story about being a 7 or something about the number 7? It has nothing to do with the tour. One time, so this is, I'm really going down the rabbit hole here, but this is, 15 years ago. We're trying to pass this big cancer initiative in Texas called CPRIT, Cancer Prevention Research Institute of Texas. It was a $3 billion bond initiative. I somehow roped in President Bush, so W's dad, President H.W. Bush, to help advocate. They lost a daughter at a very young age to cancer, and so President Bush agreed to do some media with me. And I went to Houston, and we did this satellite interview in his office, and I'd never heard anybody say this. And so we're sitting there, we got the ear things in. We can't see the journalist who's on the other end. So he and I are sitting side by side, and she says, Mr. President, how are you doing today? And, he was getting, at that time, he was probably 80s, early to mid-80s.
Still jumping out of planes.
And he was still jumping out of planes, and he says, and I'll never forget, he doesn't even flinch. He goes, I'm about a 7. And I looked over and I was like, Are you shitting me right now? Like, I have never, like, if you just had to add, like,
That's
JB,
funny.
how you doing? Like, what are you, a 3 or are you a 9 or
5.5?
And I had never heard anybody say that.
That's
and it was
great.
the sweetest thing. And the lady on the other end was like, oh okay. She was like, she hadn't heard it either. I'm about a 7.
I'm
I like it. I like it.
By the way, you're mid-80s jumping out of planes and you're a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. Sign me the fuck up right now. All right. What is that noise?
There's
Somebody
some kind
drive
of
lawnmower or
landscaping.
something
Oh,
outside,
well.
yeah.
Anyways. All right. Well, we're making our way.
Day 5 tomorrow.
Day 5. Anything else?
No. Send us your comments.
Tune into Johan's show. You want the real insight? Listen to Johan Bernil. Now that, as JB said, that's just an audio show. It'll be over on all the audio formats.
Yeah, in fact, on yesterday's show, he tells a great Eddie Merckx story that you'll like to listen to. And that's audio only. I still see some confusion with the people who watch on Facebook and YouTube. Where in the Move podcast, they all live there.
Why is it audio only? Why don't we do Zoom and make it video as well? Is that more work for you? Okay. You know what? I'm going to shut up.
Yeah.
The stink eye that I just got from JB Hager was a 10. That was a 10 of stink eye. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for supporting us. Thanks for supporting all these great companies that support us, and we look forward to seeing y'all, talking to y'all tomorrow. Tiger King is out.